for multinational brand Apple, their net profit is 25%, while the local brand is a very big, very popular brand Xiaomi. Their net profit is only about 5%. So it says the most multinational companies, great global brands, are taking a very good premium from the brand and also winning the market share. But will that trend continue? We'll see. In terms of for brand competition in the global brand ranking, you see most companies are still U.S. and European, probably Japanese companies. But over the last few years, you can see some Chinese names like Tencent, Alibaba, Huawei, and these brands are emerging and to compete not only in domestic but also in global market. But you see, still the Chinese brand are still missing in this in the global brand family. So that's why a lot of companies are making their strategic adjustment or changes to make a brand a strong competitiveness for the entire company and operation. So making brand a core of a competitive strategy is that I said many Chinese businessmen are quick to catch the growth opportunities, but are prone to all category expansion without focus, meaning whatever they believe makes money, they will do. So you will see a lot of multi-business companies in China, big giants. So they started for example, maybe from home appliances, and then they expanded to chemical industries and real estate, and they become a really conglomerate. So that's why the Chinese companies believe that they can win the volume, but see the with the price competition, they see the profit is falling. So that's why a lot of companies start thinking how they can make brand the core competitiveness. So I will give you just one example. Is the China's down jacket company called Boston. Uh, Boston sounds still like a Chinese name. It started 40 years ago in a small town in Jiangsu province, somewhere 200 kilometers from Shanghai. So it's a private business. So they started with this down jacket business and then expanded to menswear, and they want to make themselves a all category, all purpose garment company. So they expanded globally and in the domestic market. By the way, interesting is how they got this brand name, Boston. So the founder told in a speech, he said in the beginning he just wanted to make the brand sounds international, sounds foreign. So Boston sounds like a Boston. Boston is a U.S. city, so they want to make it more of a U.S. or international flavor. And the boss sounds like a boss. Boss means something with a superior power and influence. And Deng, D-E-N-G, is the last name of a late Chinese leader, Deng Xiaoping. So they just mix everything in the brand name. Now it's a household name in China, expanding in a global market. So you can see the picture on the left. So they started with that kind of a domestic design, and they easily go to sales a sales season. They sold the stock in a very low price, falling in the price competition. So later, so you can take a picture on the right. Now they'll become a fashion brand. What made them change that? You can see, although the charts, although the words are in Chinese, you can see the trend from 2012 to 2015, they really struggled. See the chart on the left, really struggled with the aggressive expansion, going into all categories, all purpose garment. But later on, they repositioned with a focus on down jacket, meaning they cut all other product line just to really focus on one single category. So this means they had a loss of billions yuan, billion RMB product because of that focus. And they had a very aggressive campaign to expand globally. You can see they bought in London. They bought a property in London's High Street, and they started a very major operation from 2012 to 2007, expanding to menswear and trying to attract an international audience. But they closed the flagship store in 2017 because the huge loss, and also they struggled with what kind of category they really need to focus. So focus becomes the key strategy for Boston, starting in the late 12, 16, and 17. So, and then they reopened the London flagship store later. You can see they are competing in China and in global market with these two major global brands. One is Moncler, the other is Canada Goose. So these two companies are doing very good business in China, attracting the young generation, selling a very good price, and taking advantage of the brand and gaining a very large premium. So, and then Boston made the change. They hired the international team, or actually they signed contract with international designers such as Jean-Paul Gaultier, who was the former design chief for Hermes, and now he's a famous icon in the fashion world. And Boston worked with him for some very cool design, and they repeatedly appear in international fashion shows in London, in New York, and they shut down all non-down jacket product lines and make the focus now. The down jacket revenue accounts for 78% of the group revenue. So with the focus, they had very good premium, they had a very good brand, and influencing especially the young generation. So you can see they are choosing international stars and Chinese stars, fashion icons, to represent their brand, to be their brand ambassador. So this Boston has really gained a new momentum. The brand is reborn as a young and a cool brand. So that's a change. So you can see this chart on the left is the down jacket price in China in comparison among Moncler, Canada Goose, and Boston. So in the first three lines, you can see Moncler has the highest price per unit, and Boston has the lowest. But you can see Boston on the right, the left is popular brand, in the middle is middle and high end, on the right is a high end luxury brand. And then Boston used to be on the left. Now they're moving into the middle, competing heads on with Canada Goose and Moncler. And you can see the revenue growth of these major brands. So Boston has a very good trend, and their revenue actually in China has overtaken these two global brands, attracting really very good number of our audience. And for celebrities, you can see Alibaba founder Jack Ma a few years ago. These pictures are taken in the same annual event, which I think is global internet conference or something in China. So a few years ago, Jack Ma was wearing Moncler. He was taking picture here, and a year or 2 years later, he was wearing Canada Goose, and last year he was wearing Boston, the local brand. So you can see they look as smart. Um, in comparison with all these three major brands. So this is a down jacket. This is a fashion market. You can see the example of Boston, how they turn into a volume-based company into a brand focus major competitor, especially in China with all these major global brands, Moncler and Canada Goose. And you can see other categories, other industries on the left are emerging Chinese brands. In auto industry, you can see Geely, Great Wall. On the right, these global companies, Volkswagen, Toyota, and all these companies are still dominating, but you can see in the emerging trend of the national brands. So in the coffee and the tea market, Starbucks still has the largest number of stores in China, but you can see this high tea, Lucky Coffee, and all these companies, all these brands are emerging. And in the smartphone market, probably the only dominant brand in China is iPhone. Samsung is no longer active here. And you can see the emergence of all these local brands, Xiaomi, Huawei, and Huami's affiliate, Honor, Nova, and also Vivo and Oppo. So all these national brands are emerging and competing heads-on with those famous global brands. And I want to talk about how the PR and marketing work in this dynamic market. So the traditional way of marketing, for example, what I grew from is the PR. We were good at setting effective discussion topic and agenda, attracting media and the general public to engage them with the discussion on certain topic so that we increase a brand exposure. So how we are doing today right now. And actually, there's a combination of advertising and PR. So traditionally, we believe advertising means creatives plus paid media and public relations equals editorials plus earned media. But actually, these two are really combined to take effect and getting much influence on the younger generation. So if we give you two examples, one is the very powerful advertising campaign by a so short video company called Bilibili. So this is extremely popular among young people. It has 180 million users. In May, it launched a advertising campaign called Go Backwave. So you can see it features a gentleman in his 50s. He's about my age, born in 1960s. So he was giving a speech. So the creatives all about copy. There's no strong visual effect. The whole advertising is about this guy talking and paying tribute to the young generation. He called them back wave, and he called himself front wave. He said the front wave got to give way to the back wave because you represent the future. You can see the copy that you turn the traditional and classic into modern and popular, and turn something that very few people can understand into a global expression and global culture. You are more diverse and you are more inclusive. We want to pay tribute to you. It sounds very serious, but it got very good impact among all generations. So people talk about back wave and front wave and how different generations can understand each other in this change of our change of market and change our social life, and how we can learn from each other. So there is a website you can take a look. I put the English version here. So you can go to the website to see what this guy talks about. It's really hard to understand why this piece of advertising attracted such a big audience. Um, I don't understand either. But it means that a lot of people are forwarding that, discussing that, and generating different subjects. Some of them talk about whether front wave really out of date, whether everything we did could not be respected and admired by the younger generation. So there are a lot of discussion around that. So the change of the market and the change of marketing is that in the world of social media, we will say the only contents worth creating are the ones that can generate discussion, debate, and sharing. In my old days, we treat PR as a one to our daily work is to talk with our customer and talk to our CEO and find the right subject and find something that the media will be interested in, and we start drafting press release and or doing a product launch and doing an event attracting media to cover that. So this is what traditional PR usually did in the past. But now we are more focused on generating contents worth debating, worth having a good discussion. A content simply talk about how good you are doesn't make sense in this world of social media. So the challenge for brand communication is to generate content with maximum impact, the maximum free communication, meaning people would like to forward that, people like to comment that, giving a praise, giving a thumb up. People want to engage in discussion. So I will see the value of PR is the value of setting discussion topics. So we got to be more sensitive with what the world is talking about, what our young generation is thinking about. So we will see the policy topics, industry topics mostly fit for B2B brand. For B2C brand, today we mostly talk about the B2C brand, although most of my career was spent working on B2B brand. So for B2C, we need to focus on more of a social and cultural subject. I'll give you example. This is last year, the China Merchant Bank, they launched a credit card for overseas students, Chinese students studying overseas, like you. So just like your home country's bank issue a student credit card for you, for those who study in China. That's the same thing. So they had this piece of advertising. The theme, the story goes, a Chinese student studying in the U.S. or Canada, North America. He was invited to join a dinner with his schoolmate, and the rule is that everyone needs to contribute a dish. Italian will bring a spaghetti, or someone will bring beef or a cheeseburger. American will bring cheeseburger, and he, as a Chinese, he believed that he can cook and he can stir fry tomato and an egg. This is a really traditional. Sounds simple, but apparently this student doesn't know how to do that. So he called his parents in his afternoon time. So by the time it was early morning China time. So his parents were in the bed. So they wake up, answering the call, telling them how to do that. But the student saying, "No, I don't quite understand by your words." And then the parents get up and they go to the kitchen and cook this dish and broadcast live to the song. So, and then the student happily bring that dish to his party. So